What's up guys, welcome back to Seize the Speed for another review. Today we have something really special that I've been looking forward to filming. To the right side of me, we have a 2023 Toyota GR86. Let's get into it. So this car to the right side of me is the reincarnation of the first generation that started with the GT86 or the FRS for Scion here in the US, and also Subaru had it as the BRZ. Yes, this car also existed in a whole nother brand. This car is the results of two of our beloved JDM brands, Subaru and Toyota, getting together and saying we want to give people a fun rear-wheel drive car that you can actually afford. So this is the second gen, this is the ZN8, and there's quite a bit of little differences here and there compared to the ZN6. If you want to see a review of one of those, I reviewed a FRS, link right up here, check that out. But as far as this one goes, let's go ahead and take a look at all the different stuff they did compared to the last gen. Starting in the back end of the GR86, and honestly, perhaps the most controversial view of this car, especially when we first saw the release photos. And yet another plane decides to fly by us, but we're gonna keep going. So people were actually a little bit stumped comparing it to the old FRSs that we had seen, but here seeing it in Neptune blue with this ducktail on the back, I think this is actually pretty gorgeous, if I say so myself. Down here you can see the GR badge referring to Gazoo Racing, Toyota's racing division, so that pretty much tells you this is a full-on race car. This particular 86 has a AWE Track Edition catback, which you will listen to right now. Coming to the side profile of the GR86, and these cars are just so beautiful with this roof line going into the back. But you can notice that these hips look a bit wider, and that refers to the wide end track width of this car, which gives you more stability on the road. It might not look so different than the first gen, but trust me, almost every panel has been completely redesigned. And if you want to see every bit of a difference in detail between this car and a 2016 FRS, click the link up here, because we actually are going to have both of these cars side to side going into all the nitpicky little details. So the front end of the 86, almost everything is different. As I mentioned earlier, you have this vent right here, which is actually real. Looking at you, Supra. Moving on to the front end, these headlights are pretty simple, but they add to the elegance of this design. They kind of remind me of a Jaguar F-Type, and they are also moving with the steering wheel like a BMW. Let's take a look at what's under the hood of the new GR86, and this is where we can see they actually listened to some of our complaints, and I say some because they didn't listen to the fact that we asked for boost, but at least they put a bigger motor in here. This is the FA24, hensing the fact that it's a 2.4 liter versus the 2 liter that was in the FRS, and obviously it makes more horsepower and more torque. It makes 228 horsepower stock and 184 pound-feet of torque. Now you got to realize that doesn't sound super impressive, but these cars are a good bit below 3,000 pounds, so they move. This particular one might be making a little bit more because obviously it has the catback and it also has an intake. And under the hood, you can see actually the beautiful coilovers. This thing has some HKS coilovers on it. We'll see how they actually feel on the road. Let's take a look at the trunk space you get, and you can see we got a nice trunk button on here. And honestly, I mean, it is a tiny little coupe, so not a whole lot of space, but you know, for your essentials, a couple of bags for a weekend getaway, this thing will do just fine. Let's see if a full-size adult can fit in the back seat of one of these cars. I'm gonna go ahead and undo the seat belt, and I mean, just look at that legroom real quick before I even attempt anything. This is my hand for reference. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put that over there. And here I go. There's art to this. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. You might get stuck. Okay, so same old deal with the old FRS. I can only put one foot in here. I can cut the other one off and fit back here, but that's not ideal, is it? You could probably lay somebody in here. Let's see. So this is what we're looking at. Yeah, you know, you can cut either your head off and hold it on your lap or one of your feet, and then you'd be fine. If not, don't sit back here. All right, getting to the interior of the GR, and the first thing I want to mention is the new Toyota key. We finally have a new key. You don't have a whole ignition, the whole system with the FRSs, and this is the unlock button, the Toyota logo. Taking a lot from BMW, I see. And special shout out to my friend Phantom N. If you want to, go ahead and follow him on Instagram. I'll also leave it down in the description. But let's get in the interior and see what it's all about. Interior of the GR86, and this one is the premium, so you get all the nice leather and suede on the door. You have your leather seats, and also you have these pretty lines down in the middle, leather wrapped steering wheel. This looks like a much more premium place to be than the old cars. All right, push to start with the big old GR logo, and this thing comes to life. As always, being inside of one of these cars is an absolute pleasure. I mean, the interior is super minimalistic, not a whole lot to distract you. We have this Subaru-inspired infotainment. The infotainment in these cars has always been a couple years behind what's going on in the industry, and this one's no different. However, we do have wired CarPlay and Android Auto, which people have been reporting a bunch of issues connectivity-wise, with things getting disconnected with Android Auto randomly. But you get what you pay for with these cars. Not a premium car by any means. Down here we see the heated seat buttons, which honestly is a must. I really like this. We have your mode selector over here and your traction control. Beautiful 6-speed shifter, which is one of the best notchiest feeling transmissions in a new car you can get right now in the market. One thing that is way different in this car compared to the old ones is your temperature control for your air conditioning. It's a lot more premium feeling than the old FRS. I'll throw a picture right up here. And also you have these race car style kind of toggle switch inspired buttons for it, which is pretty cool. It just adds to the oomph of the interior of this thing, So this thing is actually daily driven by my friend, and it has 15,000 miles on it already, which is what I like to see, cars getting driven by real people. Now, the gauges on this thing are miles apart from the old car. I mean, not that I had any complaints with the old car, but this thing also kept it simple while also adding a bit of technology. When you put this thing over here in track mode, you get this beautiful horizontal rev counter, which actually adds to the pizzazz when you drive this thing. It just makes it another level of fun. Another bit of suede up here. We have the same double bubble in the roof, so you can fit in here with a helmet on, which is good consideration. The vents are a little bit different compared to the old FRS, but aside that, it's a pretty nice place to be. That is about all I have for the interior of the GR86. Without further ado, let's buckle up and let's take this thing on the road, because I'm dying to see how different this feels compared to the old FRS. Let's go. All right, driving the all-new 2023 GR86. And oh god, that catback sounds really good. Now, as I mentioned, this one's lightly modified, so it has some pretty nice HKS coilovers, which do make it quite a bit more stiff, I would imagine, than the stock. Now, especially comparing it to the stock FRS I drove, it sits a bit lower, and it definitely feels a good bit tighter around the corners. Wow. So the steering is not as heavy as the FRS. It still feels good, but it just doesn't provide that feedback that the FRS style turn signals. It's a lot of BMW going on. This thing's like a go-kart. It's like a little go-kart for the street. You get to experience rolling through all the gears without going to jail. See how these coilovers do. Oh, these seats are pretty good too for stock seats. Oh wow. Honestly, on the streets, especially on back roads, I don't see why you would be wanting for any more power. This car has just the perfect balance of not trying to kill you while making sure you have every bit of fun on back roads. So as a whole, the new GR86 does daily driving, does cornering, does fun very well. I mean, if you are looking to spend somewhere in the 30s on a sports car that is still under warranty, and you aren't going to be upset about your buddy with a 5.0 winning races on the highway, that is, around the circuit, you better watch out, 5.0 guy, then this car is definitely for you. I totally suggest it. Now, there has been some trouble with the lower oil pan gasket seal material getting into the oil pan and blowing up motors in the pickup tube, you know, starving the engine. So, you know, be wary of that. Toyota is addressing those. I mean, they're pretty responsible with these cars. Of course, they want their customers to have a good experience, but that has been an issue. There's been, I've heard of people where they buy this brand new, they go take it in to just get that material removed and do a different style gasket. Oh, this thing is just so much fun. But aside that, I mean, it's a Boxster engine, so it definitely has that, dare I say, Porsche tone to it. Even though it's, you know, a lot more buzzy, Subaru-y, but especially with this AWE catback, it's crazy. Definitely, if you get one of these, I suggest the catback. It wakes up the car so much. But alright then guys, I think that is all I have for the all new Toyota GR86, and I think this thing is an absolute blast. I'm gonna go ahead and look up where I can get one of these at Sticker, because I really want one. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Check out some more videos right here. Peace out, and I'm out. Oh God. The things we do for views.